So it's almost my daughter's birthday. She's my only daughter, my firstborn. And when she was born, I was out of it on gas, and I can't. With all of the kids, I was out of it. So I always have a problem knowing, even if they could tell me 1,000 times, it still reverts back to what I was feeling on the day that they were being born. Out of it, like, were you born today or yesterday, or are you gonna be born tomorrow? Because I was out of it. Doesn't matter if how many times I look at the birth certificate or whatever. Every time it's time for one of my kids' birthday, I feel the same feeling. Is it today or was it yesterday? Is it tomorrow? Because I was doped up. They doped me up bad to keep me still. Near death. I mean, they want to keep me so still, they put me near death every time. But anyhow, I was remembering when she was 2 years old, and I had exactly the rent. Actually, the rent was $50 more than my pocket. And I don't believe in chasing nobody for no child support. I don't believe. I'm not going through that. I'm not going to sit in no court and all. I'm not going through. No, I'm not doing it. Okay, so if somebody didn't bring the food, then that's between them and God. And that's on you when you suffer on the way out too. The more we're already suffering, and you want to make your suffering harder. I mean, that's on you. I'm not chasing nobody to beg nobody for milk. That don't sound right. I don't like how they shaved my teeth down. She shaved it. Um, and anyway, so I wasn't worried about me eating, pregnant or not, because the baby takes from you. If you don't eat, the baby gonna take from you. So it don't matter. The baby ain't gonna starve while he's in you. When I was pregnant with her, I couldn't even eat at all. I couldn't eat nothing but dry cereal. That's it. Otherwise, because I just felt nauseated morning, noon, and night, not just in the morning. And so whatever she got from what I was already healthy. Thank God she was first, so she got all of my healthiness, and that's good. She got everything that I wished and prayed for her to have, as far as how she looks and everything, and how her body's shaped and everything. I pray for her not to have a flat ass like mine. All of that shit. I'm sorry for cussing. God, I'm sorry. Everything I wanted her to have, she got. She got a smaller nose than me, a smaller mouth than me, smaller cheeks. Everything I asked for her to have, she came out with. Perfectly, exactly like I wanted. You know, like magic. Sure enough. Size, everything. Exactly what I wanted. Yep. And that is the truth. So when she was 2 years old, we hadn't eaten for 2 days, and I wasn't worried about me. But I walked down the hill because I didn't want my cousin Tootie to go back to the Big Chief and steal food anymore. Like, he was still in the food so we could eat, and plus he had 2 kids living there. They all slept together, her and his 2 kids, Nikki and TJ. It's just short, excuse me, for their nicknames. They all grown up now. And I walked down the hill to the white church, the old white church. I think it's called the old white church. I'm not sure, but it's downtown, and it's with all the courthouses and city hall down there. And it was the only pantry that was available back then, as far as I knew. I wasn't in the habit of going to the pantry, and she was my first, so it's not like I knew how to survive without. I had my little job before I had her, and I just ate like that. You know what I mean? When I got my little check, and I fed myself and paid my little for my room. It doesn't matter that it was at my grandmother's house. I had to pay my room. I had to pay for it. I paid for it, and I felt good about that too. I gave up 1/3 of my check. It didn't matter how much it was, how small it was. That's what I did. I paid for my room since age 14. I felt very good about that. Not just to go live with somebody. Even though it doesn't matter that I was only 14, it don't matter. And then she was born, I was 17, and I made my stepfather sign, co-sign for my apartment. I said made. I mean that. Like I had something over him. Yeah, I did. And I said, you're going to sign this paper or else. This is the truth. This is Lottie, the mysterious being. There's no lies in this story. There's no make-believe in this story. There's no cover-up on this story. This is my story, my autobiography. And there's no time for lies, because if I can influence someone in a good way, that's good. Now, I wasn't totally disrespectful, even though I felt like I know I had a lot over him. But my baby was 2 months old. I said, I need somewhere to live, and you gonna give me the key to your apartment. And he did. And then when she was a year old, or less than that or something, like 5 months, or I don't know, she was still in the walker when I got in my apartment, so it wasn't that long. It just felt like forever. God, it really seemed like every day was another year. It felt like that. It felt like everything was dragging and dragging and dragging. But she had to be, before she was walking. I had my own apartment. I made him sign that paper. You're going to sign this paper. That's it. Point blank, period. I must have only been at his house a few weeks. And I had my girlfriend there, and my first boyfriend, Dwayne Hubbard. He was coming over there every day. My mother didn't know nothing about that. She would really, to this day, she just really wouldn't be able to take that. But that's over and dead, and it's a long time ago. Nobody can do nothing about it. And plus, he's died now. So, yeah, I'm telling everything. It's a shame I had to deny him while he was alive. It's very sad that I had to deny him. But he's not here now, and I'm telling everything. He was with me every day, including before I moved out of my mother's house. Yup. True story. Anyway, every time she went out the door, he came in the door. That's the truth. And people think they know everything. They don't know nothing. This is my story. I'm telling everything. So I walked down to the pantry. I got up out the bed, and my stomach, then like I said, my son was laying sideways. And I'm only mentioning him because he called talking about, they always think you're entitled. You sound like a spoiled kid. You want milk for your cereal, whatever. You should be glad I'm not saying I want wine. It doesn't matter how good you are. The kids, you have them, you nurture them, you suffer, and they grow up and talk to you like you're trash. That's how I feel about it. I don't see it as okay. I don't see that as okay. It's not okay. It's not. You're gonna say, you think you're entitled. I am entitled. When I had to walk down, and I never brought this up. This is the first time it's actually coming out of my mouth, and look how long it's taken me to say it. It's been 8 minutes already, and I still didn't say it. While he was growing sideways inside of me, which was very, very, very uncomfortable because his head was under my heart and his feet were pushing underneath my liver, and that was very uncomfortable. And you're gonna call me up and talking about something, and every time you give me a ride, you're screaming at me talking about, you think you're entitled. Well, I am, and I'm not taking no more of that. I'm not taking no more of it. So while I walked down to the pantry with him inside of me, sideways, not budging an inch. He wasn't even balled up. Seemed like he just was straight out, just laid just straight out with arms, and he wasn't even that big. So how was all that pain going on? Hello. Yeah, I'm upset about it now because he talk to me like I'm garbage. I don't think it wasn't. That's not worth it. I said it. That's not worth it. It's not. Okay. So I walked all the way down to the pantry because I wanted to, because I love my daughter and I wanted her to have something to eat. And I had 3 paper bags of canned goods. Maybe they put a chicken in there, a small piece of roll of a hamburger that with some spaghetti sauce in the cans, of course, and lots of canned foods. Spaghettios, tuna fish, whatever. I was happy about it. But okay, without being pregnant, it might sound like a complaint right now. I don't care. I'm sorry. This is my story. And while I'm telling it, I can remember the anguish of it and the love that drove me to do it. The love from my daughter that pushed me up that hill with 3 paper bags on my stomach. I wasn't worried about that baby. He's surrounded by fluids. He's good. He was controlling my body. What? This is my body. What's going on? And I need to carry those 3 bags. I didn't call nobody. I didn't have no phone anyway. I couldn't afford no phone bill. What? I couldn't have no phone. I wasn't gonna call no. Didn't nobody come to my house and be like, "I just called to see how you doing." That's why I'm like, people talking about something. I call to check on you. Don't be saying that. You say you came, you called to see just because you miss me or you love me. What happened to that shit? That's why I don't want to hear that. Not from my kids. Don't say it. It's other people in my family. People that like putting people in institutions. I said it, and then when I said it, they didn't like it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want you to be smart enough to acknowledge that's what they're trying to do. But you stay out of my face with that. Did nobody come and help me with my kids? I didn't cry about it. I didn't ask nobody to. They were mine. I loved them. But to grow up and then treat me like I beat you every day and like I never gave you nothing and I put a man in front of you, I don't think that's not real. Definitely with all these scars on my head, you know how many fights I had? You know what they thought I was fighting for fun or just for a regular relationship fight? No. It was mostly 99% about my kids. 99.9% of the time. It was because, number one, you ain't gonna be walking around in here half dressed. I got kids. It don't even if you the father. I don't care. What? 99.9% don't go in the kids' room after dark. Don't go in the morning. Don't go in there, period. I don't want you in the kids' room. I didn't say the girls' room. I said the boys and the girls don't go in my kids' room at all. They'll start a physical confrontation. Physical. Somebody come in and sat down next to my daughter when she was 3 years old, and I took the broom and beat his head so bad. I don't know if he died or lived or died. I'm pretty sure if he died, they would have came and locked me up, though. That's how serious I am about my kids. Okay? I came back with those 3 bags. You know, those are paper bags. That's before they made cloth bags, and that was before they didn't have no grocery carts. And they didn't have no plastic bags. That was long before that. So you better carry them bags right, or they gonna break. And then what? And then what? The food would have been all over the sidewalk. Then what? So I had to carry it right. I had to walk a little slower than I wanted to, which means it's heavier because you're walking slower. Yeah, I'm saying all of this because it's real. Because I never told my kids this. They need to know about it. They was kids. Why would I tell them when they was little? And hell, when they grew up so fast, sorry for cussing God. And I was busy and they were busy and I never got to tell. I didn't have a reason to tell this story, but now I do. Because now everybody's going to be approaching 50 very soon. And I'm not having no disrespect. I don't care if you don't like this film. It doesn't matter. Because that would prove that you're not mature. That's what that would prove. Now, I let my kids get away with all kind of stuff while they was growing up. Telling me to be quiet while they were talking. Telling me I'm over talking them, which means I wasn't done talking, and you're supposed to be quiet and let me teach you what I'm supposed to teach you, but you didn't want to do that, none of them. But I let it slide. And I'm telling this story because it's my autobiography. And hopefully it will save your souls. I said it. Save your souls. Because the first rule is honor your mother. Honor. Even if she's wrong or right, or I never broke nobody's legs or arms or none of that. Nobody had to go to the hospital for anything I'd done to them, hurt them in any form or fashion. So I know I don't deserve it. I tried a couple of punishments a couple of times, and then I couldn't even take it. My heart couldn't do it. Like kneeling on rice, I saw it somewhere. And then I tried it myself. It was horrifying, and I just never did it again. So, nobody's going to punish me for something I did one time each, or whatever, that I tried to learn each different way of punishment that would be better than beating the hell out of my kids. And when I try to give you a gift, this is the thing my mother taught me when I was little. When somebody gives you a gift, you're not supposed to be rude and nasty. You're not supposed to open your mouth and say, I don't like it. You're never, ever supposed to do that. That's not what's supposed to happen. That's why you think people got closets full of gifts. You're not supposed to just throw the shit in the closet after somebody spent hundreds of dollars on something. You're not supposed to let your kids do that. It's up to the parent that's teaching the kids. And to be grateful. Not to just be like, well, she spent $800 and oh well, just throw it in the closet if you don't like it. No, you're supposed to make them try it out. But those days are long past and done. And I let it slide. That was before I died. Right? And all I did was just, I let everybody walk on me like a doormat. And that includes my kids. This ain't no angry session. I was talking to a family member the other day, and she said, oh, so you're mad about... Do I look mad? Doesn't matter. Don't answer that. You shouldn't go by looks anyway. That's the ultimate test from God. People going by looks. But when I brought that food up to the fourth floor, that building's still there on Bay Street too. I walked up to the fourth floor with all those 3 bags of food, and then the bag broke in the hallway. My cousin Tootie comes out, and he picked up the cans that fell out, because once I reached the top of the fourth floor, there was no way. I couldn't even do nothing anymore. I just kind of collapsed on the couch in the front room, and then my cousin Cheryl, she tried to make a cake, but she used fish grease because it's only oil we use. It was poor. I didn't want to eat none. I was like, I'm not eating that. But I did taste a piece of it. I can't lie. Later, I had a piece of ham. They had gave me a small ham, and I just ate ham and cheese under the broiler. My daughter, first thing I got in there is I made her tuna because it was quick, and she didn't have to wait for me to be cooking nothing. So I made the tuna for her and my 2 little cousins that were like a year older than her, or 2 years. I think TJ was 2 years older than her, or something like that. Nikki was like a year older than her. But yeah. And I made sure she was full. I made sure she didn't cry and complain like most kids are noisy. She wasn't like that. She just sat there like, well, I guess we'll eat one time, one day. God bless her soul. But I knew she had to be hungry, and my cousins, they had their little hustles, but that day, sometimes that's be taking all day, all that hustling and stuff, and I wasn't down. I'm like, she got to eat today. It's my turn. I didn't know it was gonna be so hard walking up that hill with 3 bags. Maybe I shouldn't have got 3 bags. Maybe I should have just got 2 bags, and that would have been easier, or 1 bag, but just enough to eat. But it wasn't. We weren't gonna get any money for over a week, so I had to get those 3 bags. If it was just for like today until everybody gets paid on Saturday, then I would have got 1 bag with the tuna and the, stuff in there. That's ham and cheese. That's it, just enough. I know she was hungry, and those things hunt me. Even though she grew up, she's alive. She didn't starve to death. Like, I've seen documentaries. A lot of kids really definitely starve to death when they were toddlers. Because they're little and they don't have much for their body to eat on if they don't have anything to eat. And they really died. And then I start crying when I see stuff like that, because then how close that I came to my kids starving to death. You know? And I know it's almost your birthday, but everything ain't glitter and gold, and everything ain't roses and flowers, and you know. And I remember when you were 12 and you said to me, you said, "You're too nice. When I grow up, I'm not going to be like you." I'll never forget that. So with that, I won't cry right now. I'll just hold that back as my eyes are burning. But that's different. You were 12 then. And I just told you nice things as far as I could tell you nice things. But that's why you're hearing this now, the bare truth. Because you're older and you can handle it, the truth. Why would I want to tell you about the hard times? You lived it when you didn't know about what I went through when I left the apartment. Of course, like carrying those bags up that hill. And with all those cars driving by, and the way that people are always telling me that they seen me when they was riding, I hate, why are you doing that? Then that means somebody saw me walking with those bags. And they're in trouble with God, right? They're in trouble. I didn't think about that when I was younger. I didn't have time to be thinking about that. All I had time to think about was getting that food over there, getting it ready for her to eat. She didn't complain. I made her 2 sandwiches, cut them in half, diagonal. And she could eat as much or as little as she wanted, take her time. Eat it slowly. I never forced anybody, don't like. This is some things I force, like education, but not the food. I'm not, like, hurry up and eat now. I was one of those hurry up kind of people, but not the eating part. Because that's your stomach. You can't be messing around like that. I let my kids sit down and eat slowly or whatever, take their time. But actually, every time I ever went in the kitchen, them kids was done eating in 20 minutes, especially if I took over 15 minutes, they'd be done. He was like, that food was good. They wasn't even talking at the dinner table, none of that. It was quiet. They was eating up that food. I know I'm a good cook. They don't play around. They don't mess around, okay? They get empty out that bowl. And I remember one time I forgot to get me something to eat. And I made that big old deep dish pot pie in that big quart, that big quart pot. You get it, whatever, 6 quarts, whatever. I don't know what the measurement. Put down the stove and, put the chicken and all that mess in there, boiled it forever and ever the night before. Ow! Oh, damn. Be careful. And, this is so funny. I remember one time we was starving, and the baby that I was carrying sideways, he was born. He had cesarean. I had cesarean. They had to cut me all the way from end to end to get him out. And you're going to sit there talking about something. You act like you're entitled. You better get out of here. They had to cut me in half damn near. They did. They cut me in half. If it wasn't against, I'm not against showing myself I will show you, stand up and show you right now. I'm talking from side all the way to the other side. Are you serious? You're sitting there talking about you think you're entitled. I am. Especially as far as he's concerned, he got a lot of mouth. You got to shut his mouth up. I hope he see this and shut his mouth. Now, you better be glad. I hope you don't come back as a girl next time. You have a baby inside of you, just laying sideways, just growing sideways, just pushing your feet out straight and everything. You wasn't even balled up in there. How dare you? Don't you never talk to me like that again. Yeah, I was laughing on that videotape while he was cussing and stuff, because I was just so happy to leave town and just be in a car riding somewhere away from misery. No, just away, just even it's good. I'm used to riding. We used to get in the car and drive. My mom used to go. You know. All I know is you're all getting older, so I expect different results. If I want to put a bracelet on your arm, I don't expect you to be pulling away. I'm saying it out loud because it make me have flashbacks and I'm sick of seeing it. If I want to take somebody to the bank and hand them money, one of my kids or grandkids, but then when I'm trying to touch you, you pulling away. Something's wrong with that picture and I'm not down with it. Don't ever do that again. You know who you are. I'm not saying your name, but you better not never do it again. You won't never see me again. And we'll see, and it will bother you. Because it ain't going to be bothering me. I'm not going to be having no kind of flashbacks now. And I remember one time when we was all hungry, and I had breast milk, but I didn't have no food. And I had to squeeze the milk in the cup to feed my daughter. And it's the most nutritious thing you can have, actually. And I was sober. Somebody said something stupid to me like 2 months ago, an elder in the family, talking about she came to my house and there was white powder on the table and the floor and the baby was crawling around. It could have been probably, you had drugs. First of all, I wasn't on drugs. Let's get that right. You said I was doing it with my father. Get out of here. Me and my father was not doing no damn white powder and dripping it all over the table and the floor. Never. That never, ever, ever happened. Not ever. Not never. Okay? Let's just get that right. Because if you said it to me, then you said it to my kids. And I'm looking for all the people that are responsible for my kids acting like they do towards me. Now, I've been cooking since I was 8 years old. So basically, if anybody knows me, even people who never met me, looking at my videos, you already can figure it out. White powder on the table and the floor, what is it? Sugar, flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda. Get out of my face. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for thinking like the devil. The devil told you something stupid and you believed it. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for thinking like that about somebody you supposedly love. Family. Get out of here. I would never think those kind of thoughts about my kids or my grandkids. Get out of here. What? And I definitely would never say it to my kids or my grandkids. Be like, yeah, I seen your mother with white powder and... What? Stop lying. Y'all going to hell for lying. You're going to hell. I hope you know you... I'm sorry, God. Only judgment is yours, but I know that's what's good where they going. Happy birthday, Latoya. It ain't all roses and strawberries. You said I was too nice. Well, today I'm telling the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the truth will set us all free, and that's a real truth. And I have to say, all that stuff I said is necessary, because last year when I saw you, you said you didn't know what to think, but you grew up with me, so therefore now I have to fill in all the gaps of what I was doing whenever I left the apartment and closed the door behind me. And when I came back, I didn't say, oh my God, I had to carry 3 bags on my stomach, blah, 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 blah. So now you get to know, you're going to be knowing a whole lot of stuff. You're going to be getting to know a lot of stuff since you don't know what to think. I'm going to make sure you do.